Consider the outcomes of two very different operations. On a heavy construction site, a mining crew achieved a massive daily earth-moving target by actively reducing the time their machines were running. Meanwhile, a non-governmental organization successfully produced a 16-episode film series on a total budget of $65. Basic accounting and standard administrative logic dictate that both of these projects should have failed. The mining operation should have missed its quota, and the film series should have collapsed from severe budget overruns before the first episode finished shooting. These outcomes occurred because the frontline managers in charge actively bypassed rigid bureaucratic rules. Instead of following strict corporate accounting, they applied advanced sociological frameworks to solve daily operational bottlenecks. To achieve true operational success, leaders must recognize when purely financial and structural logic fails and override it with a deeper understanding of human systems. The baseline for modern corporate and government projects is a system known as New Public Management, or NPM. This diagram maps the core tension. The left section, New Public Management, operates on quantifiable efficiency and strict discipline. Opposite is social policy, dealing with human dignity and vulnerability. A structural contradiction forms at the center, where cold efficiency directly collides with complex human needs. When a project operates without this synthesis, the drive for pure metric-driven efficiency eventually exhausts the human workforce, triggering a total systemic collapse. At the Belongo Ulu Dam construction project in Gorontalo, management faced a rigid NPM environment. The directive required moving 1,000 bank cubic meters, a standard measure of earth volume, every single day, paired with a strict mandate that operators work 3 to 4 hours of overtime. Blindly enforcing that level of overtime on heavy machinery operators creates extreme physical fatigue. That exhaustion rapidly translates into expensive accidents and critical safety hazards, directly sabotaging the very efficiency the mandate was trying to achieve. This chart outlines the theoretical tools used to solve this problem. Focusing on the bottom left quadrant, we apply political scientist Michael Lipsky's concept of the street-level bureaucrat. Lipsky's theory explains that a frontline manager cannot be a passive enforcer of rules. Instead, they act as a filtering mechanism, where abstract corporate policies are actively interpreted and adjusted to match physical, real-world constraints. The manager's willingness to use their own discretionary judgment determines whether the project succeeds. They are the single point where abstract spreadsheets meet human physical limits. At the Gorontalo site, the manager deliberately diverged from the strict overtime protocol to resolve the fatigue issue without missing the production mandate. Returning to the theoretical models, the manager utilized economist Amartya Sen's capability approach, seen here in the top section of the Venn diagram. Rather than trying to maximize the hours the machines were running, the manager maximized human capability. They focused entirely on workflow optimization and preparation before the machines were even turned on, a strategy the manager described as sharpening the axe. The crew hit their massive daily target early and were ordered to rest to prevent accidents. However, the manager used their discretionary power to still credit the workers for the mandatory 3 to 4 hours of overtime pay, rewarding their efficiency. By prioritizing human capacity and recovery over strict machine runtime protocols, the manager successfully aligned the required corporate output metrics with vital human welfare. The second case involves producing a 16-episode film series. For an NGO at Rumah Amal Salman, the total budget allocated for the entire production was 1 million Indonesian rupiah, roughly $65. Under strict financial and administrative guidelines, shooting 16 episodes of film with $65 is a mathematical impossibility. To bridge this massive deficit, the project relied on the theory outlined in the bottom left circle of the diagram, philosopher Nancy Fraser's framework of recognition. The manager abandoned standard production accounting and practiced relational welfare. They allocated the tiny budget entirely towards communal meals, breaking down formal barriers between vendors and clients to create a collaborative environment of co-creation. Since the crew could not be paid in cash, they were compensated with professional recognition. The manager provided formal credentials and certificates to validate their specialized skills and build their resumes. When material resources are absent, Actively validating the dignity of the team and offering formal professional recognition operates as a highly effective alternative currency. We have to ask the inverse question. What happens to a system that attempts to distribute massive resources without building any human capability or offering any professional recognition? This photograph illustrates the reality of Indonesia's Bansos programs, large-scale social cash assistance drops where the government distributes funds directly to citizens. Pure cash drops frequently experience systemic failures. Without guidance, distributed funds are often diverted into destructive, consumptive habits, like online gambling or purchasing cigarettes. This matrix maps the evolutionary political economy, detailing why this failure occurs. It charts the intersection of resource redistribution on the horizontal axis and social recognition on the vertical axis. Providing the material fish without the capability of a fishing rod, or without recognizing the individual's right to fish in a fair pond, does not solve poverty. It generates a cycle of psychological dependency. Pure material redistribution that ignores psychological integration and capability building is an administrative malpractice. It traps recipients in structural poverty rather than lifting them out of it. These three theories, Sen's capability, Fraser's recognition, and Lipsky's frontline discretion, do not function effectively in isolation. They must be deployed together. This creates a unified operational model. Resources must be distributed, human dignity recognized, and frontline managers must have discretionary power to balance both forces in real time. Even seemingly trivial actions act as a profound application of this trinity. A manager providing cold drinks to a crew after an exhausting mining blast is simultaneously distributing a resource, recognizing their physical limits, and using discretionary authority to build morale. True operational resilience is never found in the cells of a spreadsheet. It exists at the precise intersection of capability, recognition, and tactical frontline judgment. Looking at the entire policy landscape, the tension between the cold math of public administration and the complex needs of social policy is constant. But accountability and operational efficiency do not have to be at war with humanism. Bureaucratic systems and project plans designed entirely around numerical efficiency are inherently brittle. Under extreme pressure, they are prone to catastrophic collapse. The most robust and effective project designs place human capability and dignity squarely at the center of the administrative equation. In practice, realized justice functions as an engineered operational outcome, built by frontline leaders who refuse to let humans be reduced to mere production units.